as an asset while you are transferring the AP invoice lines to FA module, default converting the your asset AP invoice lines to an asset. So simple. If an invoice is charged to an asset account, okay, then enabling this track as asset is an optional. But if the invoice charged to a non-asset account, like an expense account, but still we need to capitalize that asset, capitalize that AP lines to be needs to be capitalized, then we must enable the track as an asset, so that if you run the mass addition process, then the process will pick these invoice lines to be transferred as a fixed assets. Okay, if the invoice charged to an asset account, then track as asset is optional. But if the invoice is not charged to a non-asset account, then track as an asset should be a mandatory field. Otherwise, it will not pick those lines to transfer to your assets module through mass addition job. If you see here, if the distribution account on an invoice is an asset account, it may be a clearing account, asset clearing account, or a capital account. Then enabling the track as asset is an optional, since already the system is recognized that lines are treated as a capital item, since we have given the asset account or capital account. Okay, but if the distribution account is given other than asset account, not an asset account, like an expense account example, still if you want to capitalize those lines, then you must need the checkbox enable as a track as an asset. So for your question, interview question answer will be, if the distribution account is not an asset account, if you select any expense account, if you want to capitalize that expense lines transfer to FA, then you must enable the track as an asset is a mandatory checkbox, so that mass addition checkbox, it will pick the invoice lines. So in normal cases, only the asset accounts will use to transfer the AP lines to FA module to capitalize the asset. In which scenarios we will use the expense account also to be capitalized the FA module? That's another question. Okay. Like if you have a project accounting module, if you are using project related cost like a material, labor, okay, they will use expense accounts initially. Okay, when the project completes, that cost should be capitalized and transferred to FA as a part of CIP asset. Okay, so if it is the invoice lines are belongs to project accounting, maybe expense accounts they are using for the material, labor, and so they want to capitalize and transfer to an FA as a part of CIP, construction progress. Okay, they want to capitalize asset, right? So in that case, they will use a expense account, right? Sometimes, what will happen? The suppliers mistakenly they will enter, expense account instead of asset account. Okay, rather than canceling or recreating the invoice, okay, we still need to capitalize those asset lines, those expense, payable invoice lines, expense lines, they want to capitalize, then we need to enable the track as asset. These are the possible scenarios when we have expense accounts to be capitalized and transferred to an assets module. Let me log in and show you how we need to enable the track as asset. So I have opened the invoice, go to invoice, open the invoice under invoice actions. Okay, drill down to lines. You can see that asset tab. If you click on this here, you have a track as an asset. Here you should enable and disable the checkbox. Depends on the distribution account you are going to give. You can see the distribution over here, distribution combination. You just click on search for the distribution ID you have to give. You can see the segment account. If you give the asset account, then system will automatically treat that line as a capital line, capital. capital asset, then system automatically pick this if you select any of these asset accounts. Okay, suppose I'm giving asset clearing account. System will automatically recognize this as a asset account to be capitalized. We no need to enable in this scenario. I no need to enable any track as asset is a mandatory checkbox. Okay, if I select this account and in this case I no need to enable this checkbox since system will automatically recognize this lines to be transferred to FA to be capitalized. But if I give any other than distribution, other than asset account as a distribution combination, if I select other than asset account like expense, like if I select any of these expense accounts, then I need to select track as an asset as a mandatory option. Otherwise, these lines will not transfer to FA. So to recognize the system, to understand the system, to transfer these lines, these expense lines to transfer to your FA module. For that purpose, we are enabling this as track as an asset so that system will recognize these lines to be capitalized. Okay. Thank you.